Hi, I'm Greg Hunter, and this is the weekly news wrap up for Friday, 24th of August, 2012. And I'm on a farm in Missouri, and I'll talk more about the crops and what's going on here with the drought in just a minute. But first, I want to talk about Dr. Marc Faber. He, of course, is a market expert, and he now says that we have a 100% chance of a global recession. Now, this guy is a pro. He's made big calls. In 2009, he told everybody to go out and buy stocks. That was around when the market was 666, 666 points, and now it's more than doubled. I would not bet against him, but he says that we'll have a 100% chance of recession. And I ask you, how in the world can we have any kind of a recovery, a meaningful recovery, if one day we have a recovery and the next day we have a 100% chance of recession? And I'll tell you, we don't have a recovery. We've had bailouts and bottom bouncing and not much else, and it's not getting much better. And maybe that's the reason why the Federal Reserve is considering another round of quantitative easing. That's money printing to us little people. They're meeting in Jackson Hole, Wyoming, for their big meeting at the end of this month, and I expect a big announcement to come out. James Rickards, who I talked to here on USA Watchdog, predicted that they would make an announcement at Jackson Hole. That's around the 31st of August, and then but their announcement wouldn't kick in. In other words, what they were announcing wouldn't start until after the November election. But who knows how bad the economy, or how bad the Fed thinks the economy is truly doing. And speaking of the Federal Reserve, now it's being reported that the Republican Party is going to put in as a plank, as part of its November, platform for the November presidential elections, a Federal Reserve audit and a possible gold standard. If they're serious about that, they're going to have a shot at capturing Ron Paul supporters. Now, Ron Paul was the oldest guy in the field, but yet consistently drew the biggest crowds and the youngest voters. And I think the GOP knows that they don't have a chance unless they can capture those young voters. And really, if we had a Fed audit, we'd finally know what the heck is going on, and maybe we could straighten out this economy. At least long term. Near term, it'd be tough, but long term, we'd straighten out the economy, because nothing's been done to really fix anything. I have to bring up the Middle East, even though there's no shocking new news. Listen, they are still slugging it out in Syria in that civil war. No end in sight. The rhetoric between Iran and Israel still at a fevered pitch. Last week, a top Iranian commander was quoted as saying he welcomed an Israeli attack to knock out their nuclear program, which the Iranians say is for the peaceful production of energy. He also said it would be an excuse for them to, retaliate and do away with the Israeli state forever. Not the kind of words that sets up any kind of a peace talk. So keep an eye, even though not much new news out of the Middle East, keep an eye on the Middle East on both ends of the spectrum. In Syria on the western side of the Middle East, and Iran on the eastern side of the Middle East. It's dangerous, and nothing has subsided whatsoever in that part of the world. And finally, this part of the world in Missouri, the drought here is terrible. It's many states are affected. And I went out to the middle of a field, and here's a corn cob, and you say, wow, that's not too bad. Well, there's missing some kernels down here, and generally, this corn cob, usually they're 30 to 40% bigger, maybe bigger than that. They're usually much bigger than that, but you see it, they're stunted because of the growth. Now, some farmers have that; they're lucky. Other farmers have a lot of this. That you just have mostly cobs. I got a friend of mine who is a professional farmer. He farms like almost 700 acres, does it by himself. And he says, yeah, it looks good on the outside, but when you get to the middle of the field, it's all burned up and you see a lot of cobs. That's what he's talking about. So I don't know exactly how much the harvest is going to be reduced, but it's going to be reduced. I've seen 20%, 25%. I've seen a big reduction in the corn crop. The beans in this area are just hanging on, but corn, yeah, there's going to definitely be a reduced harvest, and I can't imagine how that won't end up in higher food prices. And if this goes on into next year, it won't just be higher prices. It's going to be supply-demand issues for corn, beans, wheat, and other things if this drought continues. This is a serious, serious thing. I mean, after all, it's our food. Well, that's the way I see it. I'm Greg Hunter. Thank you for supporting USAWatchdog.com.